Car Obsession is proudly supported by Carly and Draggy. Check out the video description to find out the latest discount codes. Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. If you are new to my channel, firstly thank you for joining me. My name's Aaron, and secondly my walk around videos are pretty much a static review of the car. Therefore, if you're looking for driving content that won't come in this video but will come in future videos, so be sure to subscribe and to click the bell. Now before I go any further, this isn't my car. This has been loaned to me by Honda UK. So yes, I've had this car for a week. So if you're looking for a long-term ownership experience, I'm afraid you won't get that. Anyway, on to this week's car, which as I've touched upon is a Honda. More specifically, it is the brand new Honda Civic, which, believe it or not, has entered its 11th, yes, 11th generation. The Civic has now been with us for 50 years. Now, what other cars can boast that amount of longevity? Very, very impressive. In a world where the Ford Fiesta has been killed off, or well, will be killed off, the Audi TT has been killed off, here we are with the Honda Civic still going strong. So as always, I will take you around the car, talk you through the specification and give you my first impressions. Now, the new Civic is available in 3 trim levels. You have Elegance, Sport and Advance. I have the Advance in front of me, therefore of course I have the range topping version. In regard to prices, the Elegance has a starting price of £30,495. The Sport has a starting price of £31,795. And of course, that leaves the Advance, which has a starting price of £34,650. So I'm doing all of this from memory, so I do hope it is correct. Now, even the base model Elegance has still got a good level of specification. So you get heated front seats, you get parking sensors, I'm pretty sure you get a reversing camera as well. So the specification, even on the bog standard one, is very, very impressive. But what about the Advance? Well, you get LED headlights which have an adaptive beam, so kind of similar to Audi's Matrix LED headlights. They are very impressive. So when you're going down a country lane, the beams on the high beam can adjust. So for example, you can light up the left hand side of the road but not dazzle the car in front of you. So that's very, very impressive. You have 18-inch alloys as standard, which have a two-tone finish. They do look very good, and what I'm really impressed by, they are wrapped with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tyres, so Honda haven't scrimped when it has come to the rubber, so good stuff. You get keyless entry, even on the base model, you get keyless entry, tinted rear windows. If I come to the back, again you've got LED lights, and you've got rear parking sensors, as I may have mentioned, that is standard on the base model as well. Also, as part of the Advanced trim level, as you may have spotted, you do get a panoramic roof, which is rather nice, helps to give some natural light into the cabin. Speaking of which, let me take you inside. So as part of the Advanced trim level, you do get synthetic leather seats. If you go for the Sport, you do get synthetic leather and fabric, and if you go for the base model Elegance, you get fabric seats. Let me step inside and make myself comfortable, which, to be honest, is very easy in the Civic. One thing I really like about the new Civic is that the seating position is quite low, and I do like that. I do like a low-slung driving position. Now, if you would rather have a more commanding driving setup, you can do that. As part of the Advanced trim level, the front seats are electronically adjustable, so I can raise my seat up. Although I am quite tall, so I don't think I'll be able to go all the way. Nope, I'm about to decapitate myself. I need to stop. But yeah, if you want to have a more commanding view, have a better view of the bonnet, you can do so. But I like to pretty much sit on the floor. That's my personal preference. You don't get a memory function, which some may find a little bit disappointing, but it's just nice to have an electronically adjustable function for the seats anyway. In regards to the steering wheel, that's got a good level of adjustment. If I'm going to be really picky, maybe I'd want the telescopic function to come out a bit more, but that's me being really critical. I think it would be very easy to get a comfortable driving setup. Now let me fire up the ignition. I can show you the technological goodies. You have to excuse me if I'm fumbling my words. My cheeks are frozen because it's quite cold in the UK, although that does say 8 degrees, which isn't that cold, so maybe I'm just being a big pansy. You may have spotted you do get a digital driver's display. This is only standard on the Advance, so if you go for the Elegance or the Sport, you won't get this. As standard, you do get a 9-inch touchscreen, but because I've got the Advance, this is increased to 10.2 inches, and you get the brand new Honda Connect system, which is okay. It's a lot better than the last Honda Connect system, but that really wasn't very difficult. You've got navigation as standard, Bluetooth, DAB radio, smartphone connectivity, all the kind of standard mod cons you would expect in a brand new car. You do get a reversing camera as well. Well, I need to turn the car on for that, so pop it into reverse, and you've got a few different views in which you can play about with. There we go. That just gives you an idea of how you can configure it. The clarity isn't the greatest, but it'll be enough to stop you bumping into things, which is the main thing, of course. I've got heated front seats as standard, as I mentioned. Even on the base model, you do get heated front seats, which I think is impressive. Heated steering wheel, which, yes, the week we've had in the UK, the temperature has really dropped. Pretty much every morning has been minus figures Celsius, so you have to have this heated seats, and the heated steering wheel has been a godsend. I've also got dual zone climate control, and what I really like about the new Civic is that you still get proper physical controls for the climate control, and Honda hasn't fallen into the trap of putting all of these controls within the touchscreen, which makes it a little bit fiddly to operate whilst on the move. And one thing I do want to point out, actually, this touchscreen is quite easy to operate on the move, and you have this little ledge here, so you can kind of rest your hand on it, and it helps to stabilise your finger as you're selecting your options. So I don't know whether that is I'm not too sure if that was designed to be like that, or if that's simply a happy accident and a coincidence. I would probably guess it was designed to be like that, and that is handy to have. It makes it easier to operate the touchscreen whilst driving. The dials for the climate control, they've got a nice action to them. The actual kind of damping of the dial is pleasing. It feels like a quality item, feels well made, and it feels like it will stand the test of time. Now, I will be honest, there are some materials in here which aren't as pleasing. So you've got this kind of faux carbon fibre trim down here, and in my opinion, it doesn't look overly pleasing and doesn't sound great either. And also, the paddles on the steering wheel, which aren't for the gearbox, they control the amount of regenerative braking. Again, they just feel cheap and nasty, and not really my cup of tea. The rest of the interior, though, credit where credit's due, Honda has done a good job with. You've got soft touch materials on the dash. You've got this rather interesting honeycomb vent which runs the entirety of the dash, and that's for your climate. You've got these little levers here that you can kind of, they're like joysticks really, aren't they? You can adjust the vents. They're quite quirky, actually. The interior on the whole is a nice place to be. I've got another really picky complaint. I wish the indicator stalk was just sat a little bit lower. I do find sometimes when driving, it is a little bit of a stretch to reach the indicator to operate it. I know that's terribly pernickety, but that is one thing I've noticed the week I've had the car. I just wish the indicator stalk was just positioned a little bit lower, so it's just easier to operate whilst your hands are on the steering wheel. But that's very picky. You do get a choice of drive mode, so you have this little toggle switch down here. So you have let me zoom you guys in actually. Whoop. So you have individual, sport, normal, or econ. All pretty self-explanatory. Now in individual, you can go to this screen here, hold the toggle switch up like so, and that allows you to customize how you want your Civic to perform. So the powertrain, for example, you can have an econ, normal, or sport. Steering, you can choose normal or sport, and the gauge again, you can choose normal or sport. Let's just pop it back into normal. In regard to practicality, the door bins are of a decent size. With some persuasion, you can fit in a 1 litre bottle. I did have to squeeze that in, and as you can see, you do have a bit of space left over for a few snacks or your wallet or any other smaller items really. You get a wireless phone charging pad as standard. I think the Sport also has the wireless phone charging pad as standard, but the Elegance doesn't. You've got 2 cup holders in the middle, pretty standard fare, isn't it? Let me zoom you guys out a bit. You get an armrest in the middle, which is nice and spongy, but I wish it was height adjustable. For my height, I find that whenever I want to use it, I have to kind of lean to one side. So I wish it was height adjustable. Well, it's not adjustable at all, actually. You can't slide it forwards or backwards. Lift it up, and you've got a good amount of space in there. As you can see, you've got part of my snacks for today, and a little tray where perhaps you can pop 1 or 2 parking tickets or some loose change, that kind of thing. And that can be removed if you desire. In the middle, you've got 2 USB ports. Now, interestingly, with this being a brand new car, Honda has opted for the old style USB ports and not Type-C. On the left-hand side, as you can see, you've got a 12-volt socket. The glove box isn't the largest. I've got my gloves in there. Obviously, it's a glove box. My sound meter and the owner's manual. So it's usable, but not the biggest. You've also got a sunglasses holder up there. That's always handy to have. And as I mentioned, you do get the panoramic roof as part of the advanced trim level. So you have, that's for the blind. There we go. Opens up like so, and you do get some nice natural light cascading into the cabin. That's a good word, that, cascading. But if you want to let the nice winter air into the car, you can of course open it like so. That's nice to have. And the operation is quite quick as well. I've driven some cars where the blind takes about half a year to come across. But that's reasonably fast, so that is impressive. Anything else to mention in the front? Not really. You do get a brake hold, which I like. So press that when you come to traffic lights or a junction. The car will apply the parking brake for you. The actual car is very easy to drive. You've got the eCVT because this is, of course, a hybrid. You do get a 2-litre Atkinson cycled petrol engine, but I will talk about that more in due course. Let me turn off the ignition. You've also got a good amount of safety systems. So even on the base model, you get the Honda sensing system. So you get adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, autonomous emergency braking. So although this car hasn't been graded by Euro NCAP as of yet, I would be very surprised if this car didn't score highly. Right, let me just go outside and make my way into the back. Now, I have tried my best to clean the car, but with it being winter and the roads are really salty and grimy, there are still a few patches where it's a little bit grubby, but hopefully it looks quite good on camera. Right, as always, the driver's seat has been set for me. I'm 6'2", so I am, of course, a taller chap. Let me step inside and make myself comfortable. The new Honda Civic has got a wheelbase which is 35mm longer, and of course that means more space inside for occupants. As you can see, I've got a decent amount of knee room, and if I bring you guys down here, you will see legroom is generous as well. I can also fit my feet underneath the seat in front of me, like so. Therefore, I can really stretch out and relax, and bearing in mind, this seat is set to its lowest, the driver's seat I mean. Now, this car has got a coupe-like fastback styling, which means you have a swooping roofline. That, of course, means that headroom isn't quite as ample as it could be. Granted, I've got my bobbly woolly hat on, so that's not helping. You can't really see, actually, because the lighting's awful. But let me take my hat off, and you'll see, you can't see because the sunlight is awful, but this isn't going well, is it? But yeah, I'm 6'2", and my hair is pretty much rubbing on the roof lining, the head lining. So if you are, if you do carry taller passengers, they won't want to sit in the rear because headroom is tight, to say the least. You might be able to fit 3 adults in here, but it would be a bit of a squeeze, and the middle passenger would need to straddle the hump in the middle, which is quite pronounced. It's quite tall. So that's something to bear in mind. You may have spotted you've got two more USB ports. Again, they are the older style, and you've got vents for the climate control. The door bins in the back are of a decent size. In fact, let me get my bottle there, which is 500 millilitres. As you can see, it fits in just perfectly. And if I lift down, or pull down I should say, the armrest, as you can see, you've got two more cup holders in there. It would be nice for them to have those prongs that help to keep it in place. Also, the actual armrest itself doesn't lock into place. It just flops down onto the seat, which I think is a little bit rubbish. Speaking of being a bit rubbish, there's no feed through hatch. So if you wanted to feed through skis or long items, you can't, which I think is a bit disappointing. And Honda is normally quite a thoughtful, pragmatic, practical company. So yeah, to not have the feed through hatch does seem a little bit of an oversight, if I'm going to be honest, Honda. But overall, the back of the Honda is a good place to be. But yeah, if you are blessed with height like myself, yeah, as you can see, as you can probably hear, my hair is rubbing on the headlining, so that is a bit disappointing. Right, let me take you on to the boot. As always, it's filled with my filming crap, but we'll cut to a clip where you can see more of the boot. Now, nerdy fact, the tailgate is made of resin. This is a first for the Honda Civic, and by doing so, it's made the tailgate 20% lighter, making it easier to open and close. Nice nerdy fact for you. Now, yes, as you can see, the boot is filled with my filming crap, but the capacity is 409 litres with the rear seats up. But if you want more space, you can, of course, fold down the 60/40 rear seats to give you 1,187 litres. The parcel shelf is a bit quirky. Now, it is cheap, flimsy, and a bit, yeah, it's a bit nasty. It's not my cup of tea, but I can see why Honda has done it, because when it slid away, look how little space that takes up. I believe this is removable, he says. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look how tiny. That is an entire parcel shelf. And that's going to be very easy to store for when you don't need it. So as much as the actual shelf itself is a bit cheap, that's quite clever, Honda. So credit where credit's due. Slot that back in like so. And you can do it one-handed as well, as I've just proved. So yeah, if you've got your hands full with children, dogs or shopping, and you need to take that out for whatever reason, like I say, you can do it with one hand. There we go. Lovely stuff. You can't see it, but you do get a rubber mat in here, which is quite good. So for those days where it's a bit muddy, or you've taken the kids to football training, they got their muddy football boots, you can sling them in the car and you can simply wipe it down afterwards. So that is good. Close the tailgate down. Let me talk you through the engine. The new Civic, much like the rest of the European Honda range, is hybrid only. Right. So what we have under the bonnet is a 2-litre Atkinson cycle petrol engine. And if you're wondering what an Atkinson cycle engine is... Oh, hang on a minute, I can't find the lever. Talk amongst yourselves. I must admit, this is the first time I've struggled with it.
A few minutes later.
An Atkinson cycle engine, it's less powerful than an Otto cycle engine, but it's more efficient, which is why it's always used, well, often used, for hybrid cars. Now you may think, well, hang on a minute, if it's got less power, surely this thing would be like a sloth to drive. Well, of course, this has got 2 electric motors, therefore the electric motors pretty much pick up the slack. Combined, the engine and the electric motors, you're looking at 184 horsepower, along with 315 Newton meters of torque. The power is fed to the front wheels via an eCVT. In regards to performance, I know that's probably not at the top of your list of priorities, but this will hit 62 miles per hour in 8.1 seconds, and the top speed is 112 miles per hour. In regards to economy, which is of course what you really want to know, you are looking at, on a combined run, 56.5 mpg. And emissions, the Advance, it emits 114 grams of kilometre, if I'm not mistaken. If you go for the Elegance, that is under 110 grams per kilometre. I think that's actually 109 grams per kilometre of CO2. So if you're looking for a family hatchback that would be frugal, this is bound to be up your street. I've covered a fair few miles, and to be honest with you, the petrol gauge hasn't really moved. On my drive up here today, I got around 42 mpg, so not quite the 56.5, but still not bad. Let's be honest. But yes, the 2 litre is the only engine available. So yes, there we go. A pretty thorough walk around the Honda Civic, I'm sure you'll agree. If you have any questions or queries, if there's anything I've missed or anything you'd like to have more information on, then please do get in touch. Drop me a question in the comment section below and I will answer you as quickly as I can and to the best of my ability. There will be more videos coming with this, so I'll be filming the main review. I may film a review of the Honda Connect system as well, because I haven't done that with any Hondas using that new system. And I may, if I have time, I may film a point of view drive, but I don't know. It is winter in the UK, the days are very short, therefore I have less time to film. Speaking of which, it is time for me to finish. I do hope you have enjoyed this video or found it useful. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.